Bases loaded. Breaking ball, ground ball down the left field line. James Dyer touches third, throws a second, and
Good morning, everyone. I'm just waking up here, a little tired, but I got some coffee. We have a great show for you today. My name is Adam Tannick.
I'm Chad Phillips.
And we're going to look at the hit by pitch that KJ took in one of the games. We are going to look at the player of the week and something that has never happened in PLW before. That's coming up. But first, Chad, how about a little recap?
Yeah, let's run over these games real quick from this past week. We started off with a special Sunday tripleheader between the Sand Vipers and the Stone Men. And the Vipers did jump right out early in those first two games, 8-0 and 5-0 wins. But the third game was far more competitive. But Mr. Tannick here was a little too tough in that third game. He ended up on the mound for the last few innings and a couple of big hits to get the Vipers to a 3-game sweep, a 4-3 game in that final.
Yes, in that Stoneman series, we were really wanting to go out there and get that sweep. Levi was a little rough, but man, he made some pitches to me in that game that were just unhittable, but then he makes pitches that are hittable. But I had struggled a little bit with him, if you can kind of find it.
He's definitely got to find that first pitch strike. I think that's key for him. I did notice he was getting behind 2-1 in a lot of counts, and then he has to come to you guys, and then it's trouble from there for sure.
I mean, even with Brian Pewter, I would say Levi's the second toughest at bats that I've had. The person that has been the absolute toughest. Thorn in my side. We're going to talk about that as a game later on this week.
Excellent. We move on to the Sand Vipers Calico series, which took place on Monday night. That first game was a tough one. It was zip all the way into the 7th inning. I mean, I felt the Calicos had to get that game. They had so many chances to get a run. They just couldn't scrape one home. And the Sand Vipers in the bottom of the 7th inning got a single to get the ghost runner home, and it gave them a win. And then the second game, they didn't look back at all, and they just got out hitting. And I remember it being like 8-2 or 8-3 or something at one point. 11-5 final that game was.
Yeah, I remember that game. I believe it was... I think Alex just kind of stayed in to pitch, and he just wasn't sharp. Some pitches kind of hung him, and I know he gave up that grand slam to Trench.
That was a 7-run, 2-out rally, I believe. Now that I remember, to put you guys, I think it was a 1-1 game in the third, and then you guys just hit after hit.
What was, I think Alex got that walk, and then Stein comes in to pitch to Trench with the bases loaded. Stein made some tough pitches, but then got 3-2 and just kind of put up a cookie, and Trench just went oppo. It was beautiful.
Trench looks amazing right now. He's definitely here to play this season. He's improved on his hitting a lot, and he's working on his pitching a lot.
And something very unique that happened that game, that's coming up a little bit later. But moving on to the next series.
That was Warbirds Bombers, and
this was something we were really looking forward to watching.
Yeah, I mean, I had a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 5th, and Hollis found a solo home run to tie it up at 1 and put some real pressure on us, but we were able to get that ghost runner home, and the Warbirds in extra innings are just fantastic. I mean, we're undefeated. I believe we're like 11-0-2. The 2 seasons combined in extras, and we were able to get that run and win that game.
I know Hollis, says he has Chad figured out that he's just going to own him all season. Was this the first time? How did you feel about facing Hollis?
He definitely. The pitch that he hit over the fence, I got behind 2-1, and I just tried to throw a simple screwball in there, and he turned it around. Man, he hit it hard, and I definitely wanted that pitch back. But he's definitely a good ball player. He's definitely a tough out. That whole Bombers team, there's no soft outs in that lineup at all. I mean, when we're looking for Michael Dean to come back, so we have maybe a guy to get out, it's just...
Who's hitting over 400
I know. That's
2 home runs.
It's pretty sad. He might
Dean,
be the softest guy.
Chad wants to face you.
Yeah. So that second game, we'll make that one quick. TJ came up with him loaded in the first inning, and our starter walked 2. I had to come in and face TJ, and he hit an opposite field hard ground ball that couldn't be fielded. It got to the wall, cleared the bases, and that's all the Bombers would need to hold on for a 4-2 win that game. Brandon did seem like he was maybe immortal for the first time in that game as Uncle B hit an opposite field two-run bomb to
sick.
finally rattle Brandon's cage just a little bit. But he settled in and he got the win. I
was a
believe
beautiful one.
Jim had to come in and close that one down. I think Brandon
When he
walked
did,
the second guy.
When I saw we were here in the clubhouse watching that game live, and when I saw Brandon walk Chris to come out and Jim came in, I said, Warbirds are winning this one. But they didn't.
Our offense is kind of slumped right now, and our whole team isn't really hitting. So let's move on. Stonemen ones. Let's not even talk about that series. That was an ugly one.
Those are pretty ugly. The ones just kind of found it. They've won 5 in a row. They're looking good. You know, I was high on the ones from the beginning. Just seeing them, you know, a bunch of not just athletes but baseball players that are young and experienced and. Yeah, I think they have a good squad.
Yeah, Schmitty found it on the mound finally, and he's been able to give him some quality innings. And every single person in their lineup is capable of hitting a home run. So they're going to be really tough if they get into a rhythm. But they won those 2 games against the Stonemen 10-0 and 6-0.
I think Shen hit his league-leading 4th home run.
Correct,
then.
4th home run.
Smitty hit 2 home runs in a single game. I think that's his 3rd home run as well.
I think the Schmitty home runs were one in the first game and one in the second game, actually.
Oh, it's possible, yeah. I was watching from the clubhouse and just, there were some shots.
Yeah, they were both big home runs, though, because it was a 2-0 game in the 4th when he hit his second home run. It was a 3-run bomb that he seemed to enjoy a lot with the yelling that I heard after he hit it.
Oh, he did, yeah. There's such good players on the ones. It kind of overshadows Dobbins a little bit, but he'll get his chance to be talked about on the air.
100%. He's
got one day.
Yep. Let's go right to the Snappers here. Let's put these 2 series together. The Snappers were able to win 4 games this week. First against the Tomahawks, and then last night against us. Actually, it was a few nights ago now.
Yeah, a few nights ago.
A few nights ago now. But they won against the Tomahawks 1-0 and 2-1, and then against us 1-0 and 3-1. Taylor Briner and Shane Weber pretty much logged all the innings on the mound. Very effective 1-2 punch back and forth there. Both of them extremely efficient offensive players, too. Taylor fouled off every pitch that I had to pitch, hit a 2-run home run off me. Shane Weber had a double and a triple off of me. And that was all they needed to get those 2 wins against us and against the Snappers.
So I remember back Shane Weber batting early in the season. Last season, every time I faced him, whether it was Wednesday League or Premier League, he'd always hit a ground ball to shortstop. And so we were announcing that game, and you know, he's coming up and we're like, all right, folks, now we got Shane Weber, notorious for hitting ground ball to shortstop. And what does he do? Ground ball to shortstop. That's the last ground ball to shortstop that he's hit this season. His next at bat, he hit a triple, home run. He's just
he did pretty good. I mean, I struck him out a couple times last night, I think. But when he did put the bat on the ball, he did some damage. So yeah, and when we're talking about 1-0 games and 2-1 games, it doesn't take a lot of damage for the game to be over.
And you know, Snappers have really turned it around. Somewhat of a surprise, if you remember in the beginning of the season, the power rankings, they were 8th, not 7th. They were 8th, and that's where everybody put them. They put them 8th. But they're pitching.
Well, they finally ran their best offensive team out. I mean, a couple times early in the season, they were batting 7, and they didn't have their better players here. But last night, they had their 1, 2, 3, 4 punch in there. And Jelani and Michael to back up that lineup, who both had some great at-bats against me. And then the Snappers are looking like they could be in the top half and not the bottom half for sure right now.
Well, it's important to get those top 3 spots. That's what everyone's fighting for.
Yep.
4 and 5 is a wild card game. 6 and 7 is a wild card demotion game. So,
yep.
everyone's neck and neck right now, except Vipers.
Vipers Bombers. That was a big series there that we led the day off with yesterday. And the Vipers managed to win both games. It didn't seem like that was possible. The Bombers look like they're in the zone out there, but they couldn't get a run that first game. Another 1-0 game that Adam and the Sand Vipers were able to latch onto. And the second game was a 4-3 game. I'm trying to recall that one.
Yeah, so that game, it started out, how did that? Okay, so I think Maccabee was starting that game. After seeing Brandon, I struck out my first 3 times against Brandon in the first game. It ended up being, he had a perfect game into the 5th, walked a couple guys, and then Maccabee came in. After seeing Brandon, it was like a beach ball, and Maccabee came in.
Yeah.
Was able to just take something and go oppo. They had nobody in left field, and then pick up the run there for the win. And then coming in the second game, Maccabee there again. I think we scored couple quick runs there, and then had the lead.
You got a 2-run homer. Somebody hit a 2-run homer off of him in the third to go up 4-0.
Yeah, Tom hit a double, and then just first pitch, just jumped on it and got one. That wasn't the hardest hit ball. The hardest hit ball I thought was way out. It curved down last second, hit the top of the fence.
Yes. And then they were able to put a couple of rallies together and put a real scare into you guys that game. I thought
it was, yeah. But toughest at bats I've had all season. Number one was Brandon. Like, he just placed the ball really well. It was really hard to pick it up. It's like his 55 feels like 65 from that distance. It's I just have trouble hitting up them.
I mean, I feel like Brandon only has one pitch that he can consistently stay under 55 with. He's getting a lot of people to swing at pitches, and once he's up in the count, you're done. You can't lay off of his 60 and his 58 and his 63, and it's just really hard. You really have to try and get ahead in the count against him, because then you can just spit on those pitches that are 60, and he has to come into you. But if you don't get ahead, then he never has to come into you, and he's pretty much unhittable. What do we got? One series left here to talk about?
Last series.
Stonemen Hawks. Tomahawk Stonemen last night. Jeez, what a good game that was. It was the Tomahawks got 4 in the first, and the Stonemen got 4 in the second. We had a 4-4 game into the 5th inning when Brad Ogden came up, their 6th hitter, their last hitter in their lineup, one guy on, 2 outs, and he hit a ball as a right-handed batter down the first base line that was 8 feet foul when it was traveling, and it came back, and it hit the outside of the fair pole, or the foul pole. We'll call it the fair pole, though, just to unconfuse everyone.
The 2-run bomb.
Put them
up
6-4.
Final score, though, 6-5.
Levi got a big hit in the bottom of the inning, and Jimmy got a hit in the bottom of the inning, and all of a sudden it was 6-5, 2 on, 1 out, and who was pitching there to finish that up for the Hawks? It was...
Dylan.
No. He threw the whole game.
Lefty, Nick.
No, that was the second. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Nick Sansoni came in and got the last 7 outs of that game.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. So that was this past week. We had some very, very exciting games. And what do we got up next on the show here?
So, in one of those games, something has never happened.
Oh, that's right.
Something has never happened in POW, and that is a triple play. We're going to cut to that right here, and you guys can check that out. But
Breaking ball, ground ball down the left field line. James Dyer touches third, throws a second, and a first. Oh my God! Triple play? Triple play? Wow! 6, 4, 3, triple play? Unbelievable! Wow!
Is that a first?
yeah, so that triple play, incredible. If they make any mistakes there, they got it on .1.
Yeah, it was. I had to stopwatch that play that happened, and I had it at 4.86 was the number I came up with on.
And if you see the replay, I put the
clock on it, and it might even be 4.96 for the timer you got there. Absolutely.
Stein reacted right away. It was like foot on the bag, turned and threw it all in one motion. And then Barry seemed a little almost like stud, but he still got rid of it quick before you can think, did he do something right or wrong?
Yep.
And then, perfect catch. Bobble anywhere, that doesn't get made.
Correct. That going to have to be clean to turn 3 for sure on the same play.
Since it happened this early in our first season, I'm thinking, well, this will probably happen again, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a good chance to happen. I mean, the one thing about this league is that when you get a guy on first or first and second, you really have to be conscious of hitting that ground ball. It can be pretty easy to turn 2 if you hit a hard grounder to short. It's just a quick flip, and then you can either throw it to first or home to get that double play. So you really have to protect your runners and be smart at the plate. Approach is most important. You cannot go up there just swinging lazy. You're just going to ground out. Some great defenders in this league, especially these teams seem to be putting their best athlete at shortstop as well. So it's hard to find that little 5-6 hole over there a lot of times.
It is, yeah, and some good defense. Going back to the Bombers game, we played those 2 tight games. There was no errors and just lots of hits taken away. I don't want TJ to hear this, but after playing them that series, like the Bombers, they're the real deal.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've been telling them this since the minute we started back up when TJ was all down on his team, and they're loaded this year.
Yeah.
Just getting rid of Cam was just monstrous for their team, and just getting somebody else on the mound. I mean, we went from the worst pitcher in the POW history to Brandon, the best pitcher in POW history. I mean, just that right there alone has got the Bombers from a 5-20 team to a 20-5 team, basically. So
Well, I know people rag on Cameron, but I saw his evolution throughout the season. He was getting better. He was making some pitches, high 50s. You know, if he kept sticking with it, he was improving. He wasn't just someone that had was at their ceiling.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was a big change for them.
He wasn't a team player, though. That was the other problem. He was just kind of selfish out there. He just wanted to do it all himself. Like, he could have fit himself in successfully, but he needed to use his teammates more because he's got a very skilled team.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, well, moving on. We're going to talk a little bit about the hit-by-pitch rule and an incident that happened with one of your teammates against Taylor, KJ. We have a little screenshot here. This kind of, if you're looking here, it kind of shows how close his foot is, to the line there. You cannot step on that line, but he's kind of right there. And you see where the ball's coming down. His elbow is kind of leaning over. You say that ball was moving the other way, so you said no chance for a strike?
No chance for a strike on that particular pitch. But at the same time, KJ is way in the wrong here. He needs to make more of an effort to back up. All he did was kind of duck down, and it's not good enough effort to get out of the way.
And it's the problem I had with this was, I love KJ, by the way, you have the line, his elbow's over that line. You can't put your elbow over that line and say,
I agree. It was very poor disciplines with his body at the plate for sure. He needs to get out of the way of that pitch.
So just for some of you at home, can you explain how this rule works?
So basically, if the pitcher believes there is a non-zero chance that pitch will be a strike, the pitcher's not sure. He's upset that the batter hit it, but he kind of knows it wasn't a strike, but he's like, well, maybe it could have been a strike. We're going to no-pitch that just about every time. If the pitcher believes it's a strike, and if the batter actually took that pitch away and it was clearly going to hit the strike zone, it's going to be a strike every single time. I mean, I hate to categorize people, but if we have a player in the league who's never, ever been guilty of not getting out of the way, we're probably going to try and find the benefit of the doubt for him. But if this happens to KJ again next week, he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt in this spot because he's already displayed to us that he's not getting out of the way. So that's about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And, there's some times, I've been guilty of it where I see that the hitter, it's his third at bat and he's just crowding the plate. And it's like, I can't get in there. So there's this pitch you can throw, just like this. It's just the slowest curveball ever, and it's going to break this much.
Yep.
And you throw that at them, and it's 100% strike. It might even, if it's a ball because it goes outside.
Yeah.
And then you test them, and they don't move out of the way. And strike three.
Yeah, I like to throw that pitch where I started about 8 feet inside and get it to the plate. So that's going to hit that shoulder of that batter almost every single time. So
we did a lot of testing in this and some BP runs and stuff. It's easy to get out of the way. If it's over 55, it doesn't matter. That's a ball anyway.
Correct. Yes.
So if you lean over with your elbow way over the plate and it hits your elbow and it's 56, well,
it doesn't make a difference, of course.
It doesn't make a difference. And those are the ones that are hard to get out of the way, that are over 55. But, under 55, especially some of the slow curves, anyone can get out of the way. But it was tough for me at first, years ago when we started this, because with baseball instinct, that's your baseball instinct.
Yeah, baseball players want to take that ball off the shoulder. That makes the most sense. That's a base for a baseball player. That's hard earned in baseball. Plus you're protecting yourself in baseball.
Yeah.
There's no reason to protect yourself here, and the strike zone is not being called by an umpire. The strike zone is actually a block that's behind the plate. So you just can't get in the way of that strike zone, and otherwise you are definitely at risk of being called a strike or an out, for that matter, if it's the third strike.
Yeah, so moving on, I'm going to throw in a random kind of issue. I was talking with TJ. I think TJ was facing Adam Adam Couts. And I don't know what happened. Maybe there was some pitch curveball. I don't know. But TJ did something and it upset AK, and then AK threw 92 around TJ's head. It's a plastic ball. It's not going to kill you, but we shouldn't be in a situation where someone's throwing 85 at someone's head.
Everything's about intent in this entire world. It's about intent. if Adam is clearly upset at TJ and then he buzzes him with 92 at the head, that's not acceptable. That's going to have to be an unsportsmanlike warning for that type of behavior. But at the same time, if it's 0-2 and he's looking to buy some more plate and he's 78 miles an hour up and whatever, it's all good. But it's the intent that's the problem. And if it's clear intention, but another example of Hollis yesterday, like he's such a gamer out there, he's competing so hard, but his comment at the officials was intentional. He mapped that comment out. It wasn't just going back and forth with a player or arguing a call or you're wrong, you didn't see that right. Like, that's fine, but it was an integrity comment that really, really was the problem with how that went down yesterday, for sure.
Yeah, I was kind of saw a little bit of that. With the AK thing or the TJ thing, I didn't see any of that, so I don't really know. That was just TJ saying that. Maybe he overplayed it. I don't think TJ really overplays things very often.
No, TJ's legit. If he had a gripe there, he was upset about that. We talked about that for a while.
Oh, you did see it? Okay.
I did see it, and I remember that it happened, and I didn't put anything to it until because there was a check swing before that, and the call went TJ's way, and I don't know. It's a wiffle ball. Again, hard plastic ball. Nothing to be scared of. I mean, look. He's all right. So, but still, intent is a big deal.
And there's, we have the gun that could read off bat speed as well. I've hit some balls that read over 110 that have hit people. Yes. And that's a lot faster than anything.
Hey, Joe T, and how's the neck?
Yeah, and everyone comes alive, Yep. No one died yet.
Yep.
So, it's still okay, but no one wants to think about 92, even 87 going at the head.
Yeah, it's a little quick. It's a little quick, definitely. Once we start breaking 80 with speeds, the intent is no good there.
Yeah. All right, so we're moving on to the last thing we're going to be announcing.
Player of the week.
Deciding player of the week. So we each kind of looked at some stats. I did it pretty quickly. I have two that I'm kind of debating towards. One's a hitter, and that's who we talked about earlier. Brad Ogden had a great night. He played 4 games, hit 429 this week, 6 RBIs. He did that, 14 at bats, 6 hits, 2 doubles. And that game-winning home run that you said, that curve.
It was an unbelievable week for him. And for him to be able to do that as pretty much the most unsung offensive player on their team, he's hitting last. He's kind of on a second thought almost in their lineup. And for him to be able to contribute like that, that's really big for the Tomahawks.
And you're looking at the Tomahawks, you're looking for easy outs. And because there's not a lot of easy outs in the lineup. I used to think it was Jamie, but then he got 2 hits off me. It's like now, he's laying off pitches before Jamie's swinging everything. So that out that it's in my mind, it's like, okay, if I can get to Brad here in this situation, then I can get him out. But now after this week, got to rethink things. Like
that was a late swing 2-run home run to win the game. That was incredible. That was the second most incredible home run of the season. The one that Stein hit at opening week there to win that game. But Brad, it was just like a late swing, and he crushed it. It was gone by, it was 110 feet for sure. It was over the fence by a good amount.
Hit the foul pole.
Hit the outside of around it. It came into the foul pole this way. It was so incredible.
Maybe we were able to cut to a replay or not. So and then so is it going to be hitting or pitching? Taylor also did really well. He pitched 11.2 innings. He got a save. He got 2 wins this week. 16 Ks, only allowed 9 base runners. One of those was a complete game, and because of him, I mean, the snappers are rocking and rolling right now.
Absolutely. Him and Shane really have that team going in the right motion. Manny's been able to kind of step back a little bit and just, which is good for Manny because he is a rookie here and he's getting used to the wiffle ball still. So now all of a sudden he's got 2 players that are raking for him and he can just settle in the 4-hole. He had a big RBI single. The 1-0 game that we lost yesterday, that was a Manny 2-out single on the opposite field, and that won the game for him. And
what was Manny doing?
I don't know.
Manny was just being Manny.
That's coming from Boston. That means something to me, man. Never forget that cutoff Johnny Damon throw from the wall. Johnny Damon tried to throw it back the infield, and Manny, as the left fielder, sprinted and dove in front of Damon's throw, caught it, and rolled it back in the infield. It was just Jerry Remy was screaming, "Manny, what are you doing?" Just being Manny. That's all he's doing. But as for the actual player of the week this week, this guy right here. These other 2 guys, their stats don't even add up. We had Adam with a 13 for 31 week. They did have a heavy slate of games this week.
7 games.
We tried to hold that against him and not give him the player of the week, but his stats were just so far superior to everybody else's. 13 for 31, 6 walks, 4 doubles, 2 triples, and a bomb. That was a game-winning bomb. On the mound, his teammates didn't really grab any length this week. They just walked themselves right out. So Adam ended up on the mound and 4 different times this week. He threw 16 in the third, 16 hits, 1 run only, 17 Ks. They turned a incredible amount of double plays, 3 or 4 or 5 double plays you guys turned this week.
Oh, yeah. Casey was just an animal. Just every throw, just right on the money in there. Trent just getting rid of the ball quick. I got a great defense.
You guys had a great defense, but you definitely carried the team. And we don't want to give you the player of the week very often here, but congratulations, though, this week, Adam. You definitely...
Well, I did start the season pretty bad, so I kind of needed this a little bit.
It's going to be tough for you to get, you're going to have a couple of 2-game weeks coming up, too, in the future, so it's going to be hard to get you a player of the week anytime then. So let's give it to you while we can, for sure.
All right, well, cheers.
Maybe I can get one someday, too, if I can get a hit here. Yeah, probably not this season. But I do have 2 guys on the East Coast giving me hitting lessons currently, and it seems to be...
It has been paying off.
It
that
seems to be
triple
paying
you had
off.
down the line.
Yeah, I'm hitting it okay lately, and I had a big double to start off the last inning last night, too, and maybe I can start hitting a little bit. Because my right arm is like
the
hanging
Warbirds
here
are going to
now.
need it.
Yes, we need something.
Yeah, Brian Pewter doesn't walk, and Matty can't carry the team all the time. So.
No, he can't. He's too much of a wild swinger up there. And when he hits, it's great. But when last night he was slumping a little, and Nate was slumping a little, and tough.
Well, yep. I guess that's going to conclude our show today. Thank you all for watching.
Keep it tidy today for sure.
If you're watching, feel free to leave any comments. We're still trying to name the show. We're not in a hurry. If it takes 6 months, it's going to take 6 months. But we got to have the perfect name for it. If we last that long, we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
But
I got a good feeling.
easy.
This is building up pretty good, and this is something fun for us to do. And if anybody wants a shout out next week, let us know. We'll get you on here.
Yep. And be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next Monday.
Wiffle up, boys.